Hello everybody and welcome to another one of our leadership training videos. Now in these videos I share with you my insights and thoughts based on my own personal experience around the whole context of leadership. What does leadership mean? What does it look like? What are the traits, the skills, the abilities that you need to become a more effective leader? To become a leader who understands the elements within which they are not only going to grow for themselves, but they're going to help others to grow, to create an environment that is safe for others and allows other people to say, I want to follow this individual because he or she inspires me. My name is Chris Igwe. I have over 35 years experience leading, training and developing teams across 5 major markets, primarily in Europe, Middle East and Africa. And I bring to you the thoughts and ideas that I have. So these are my own. These are my own experiences that have enabled me to be one of the thought leaders in my sector today. Please feel free to share, like and comment and subscribe to the channel so you know when other videos are becoming available. So today we're going to talk about one which is probably familiar to a lot of people, but maybe to some of you it isn't. But you may have heard of it as a concept, but the reality is, and I've used it every single time I've been hired into a new company or a new business, and it works incredibly effectively. So I'm going to give you in a short minutes, the few minutes that we have, just a very brief overview of what I'm talking about. And that particular subject is the first 100 days. You often hear it when a president comes into a country or is elected leader. You may hear of it when a major CEO of a major company comes in or chairman, but it's also valid for you in your entrepreneurial journey or your business or whatever you are doing that is different from what you did before, where you've been promoted perhaps or brought in to do something. The first 100 days are critical. They're critical because you need time to observe. This is a time of observation. Okay, you've just started. Maybe you know the business, maybe you don't. I hope that before you joined it, you've done some research, so you may have seen the organizational chart, you know some of the business elements, the culture, many different aspects. You've done your own due diligence, but now you're in the seat and you're in the hot seat because you're expected to perform. That's why you've been hired in. Or it could be you've been promoted as well. You've been promoted to a position which has way more responsibility than you had before. So it's the same thing. You're going to need to observe. You're going to need to gather information, data, insights, in that team, in that department, in that business. What is going on? You then start assessing for yourself without necessarily sharing with anybody else, but you may have some key advisors. Your PA or your executive assistant could be somebody that is part of that inner circle because he or she is going to help you gather information, understand who the key individuals are that you would be interacting with. And in understanding those individuals, you would then set up meetings. Now these meetings could be internal as they could be external. They could even be interviews. So interview sounds a bit formal, which is why I don't specifically use it, but you want to meet up with different parts of the business that you're going to interact with. As an example, HR, the technical team or technical group, if there is a technical part to your business. It could be the commercial or sales side. It could be the finance, definitely, the finance department, the finance team. IT, those who manage the back office, all that administrative components that you will need to understand to see how it's all going to fit together. So these are the critical steps. You can add to them or expand on them, but observe, gather information, assess what's coming through, and set up meetings during that period. Now here is where a lot of people go wrong when they do that first 100 days, or even longer or shorter. The key is not to make any major decisions. Remember, the key element is gathering data, knowledge, insight. You want to get the landscape fully understood for yourself in the first place. You don't want to define any strategies. So again, don't give away your secrets, as it were. But your secrets will come out, but they may not yet be mature enough based on the information you've gathered. Maybe you don't have all the pieces together, so you look at that first. You also, this is really important, generally speaking, again, unless you've done your due diligence, beforehand, then you've got the buy-in of who you may have as the executive board, the board members, or your boss, whoever he or she may be. But in general, don't hire, and more importantly, don't fire in that period, unless you have somebody who is really incompetent and has been for a long time. But my experience is, even where I've spotted those, I still want to see how it all fits in, because I want to be able to talk to him or her or them who have been underperforming through my interview process, through my meeting process. What has not worked? Maybe they weren't given the tools to do their job properly. Maybe they weren't listened to when they had some great insights and thoughts. Maybe they've just been troublemakers, but there's a reason why they're troublemakers. So before you fire, unless it's absolutely necessary and imperative, and maybe it's a condition or a precondition to you joining, I wouldn't hire or fire in that 100 days. There's no rush. You want to get everything together. And bear in mind that if you do hire or fire in particular, and you fire people who have a history within the team or the department or the company, you're going to have to unravel that. And it's better to unravel it when people know where you're going as far as the journey is concerned. So if you give them the big picture, as opposed to just coming in and making some drastic or dramatic changes. You'll then also want to review budgets, existing budgets. And that's where, yes, the finance department comes in, maybe part of your team responsible for that area. You'll want to understand from them what is working, what isn't. Is it over-assessed, under-assessed? Where are the resources that are going to be needed? And also very important, you should have client meetings. So if you are working with external clients, this could equally just be your bank or financial institution. Who are those that you're going to be working with? Have meetings with them to understand what's going on, what's working, and what isn't. And then equally, suppliers, the supplier or service providers. Maybe it's not just about suppliers, but service providers who are coming in. So you need to have meetings with them as well. And then this is the fun part, if you like. So you've come either to the end of the 100 days or you're close to the 100-day period. You then want to create a roadmap, because at the end of the day, again, as a leader, you are going to have to take the team with you. You'll come in with some new ideas, new thoughts, new plans. What's the roadmap going to look like? Because you were hired to do something specific. They didn't just take you through the interview process or the headhunter. You still had to give them, this is what we want you to do. So once you know that what you've been hired for, or you remember or recall and make that your fundamental pillar, then you have to look at these, which no rocket science there. What is it that needs to be done? Okay, so they had given you this as your job description, your role responsibility. Does that fit completely? Is it in fact wider, more complex, needing more involvement from other people? And that's where you can take it to your boss or your boss's boss, or talk to a smaller committee of individuals. What is it you want to achieve? By when? So that's when this roadmap is laid out. Is it a 3, 6, 9 months? Generally it's longer, so a few years. So by when will you be hitting these targets and milestones, and then with whom? And that's where you come back to the team. Is the team that you have in place sufficiently capable of meeting those demands and expectations that you would have laid out? And if not, what are you going to do about it? So the what is linked to why you were hired, what your role and responsibility is going to be, by when, and it could be intermediate milestones, and with whom. Who is it you're going to be working with to achieve that? Because at the end of the day, that's why you were brought in. You were brought in to make changes. But you can't make changes by just coming in and doing it. You make changes by understanding what exists based on your own insight and due diligence beforehand, understanding from others through that 100-day period, and then working towards your own strategic plan, your own roadmap, and the objectives you want, because you want people to buy in to what vision you see for where you want to take them. So imagine if you come rushing into it, you'll be seen as cavalier. You'll be seen even as reckless, especially if some of the choices and decisions you make are not foundational, because you want to build a strong platform. And that strong platform is done by taking the men and women in the team, in the company, in the department with you, and bringing others in to support that journey. Getting rid of those who don't play a role that you see going forward as well. That's all part of the process. So hopefully you understand more. You may already have known of the 100-day period, that first 100 days. Like I say, it's what I've done each time I've changed companies. I've gone through this exact process, and it's really helped me in terms of my success. So I hope it's left you with some ideas and thoughts. Please feel free to like, share and comment, and of course, subscribe to the channel so you would know when other videos are becoming available. So until the next time, thank you and goodbye.